Did you know that a single piece of vintage jewelry can sell for over $100, $200, $300, or more on eBay, even if you paid $5 or less for it at a thrift store or garage sale? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I sell vintage jewelry online, places like eBay and Etsy, and how you can too. Hello, y'all. I am Margaret. My channel is Texas Gal Treasures, and I have been selling on eBay, Etsy, and other platforms for well over 10 years. And one of the things that I really like selling a lot is jewelry, in particular, vintage jewelry. And today I am walking you through my beginner-friendly guide to getting started on selling jewelry on eBay, Etsy, other platforms, and turning that into real profit. Step one, you got to find the jewelry. Maybe you have jewelry that's been passed down to you that you just don't want and it's just taking up space in your closet. This is a great place to start if it's something that you know your family is not going to want. It's an easy place to start because you already have it and you can start learning and researching from that. That's one of the ways that I got started. My grandmother had a lot of jewelry. Some was my great-grandmother's jewelry, and I was able to start learning and researching those pieces. Even when they weren't some that I wanted to sell, I could still use them as great starts to researching what they were, how to describe them, and would they be worth finding if I saw them out or something similar when I was at a garage sale. And when I started, I solely started from garage sales. I would go to garage sales and I would look at the jewelry and try to pick out pieces that I thought people might like to buy. But other great places to find jewelry to resell are thrift stores, estate sales. You can buy lots of jewelry from places like Shop Goodwill, Goodwill Blue Box. Sometimes ThredUp has their jewelry mystery boxes. And even places like eBay, you can find sellers that are selling lots of jewelry. It might be a little more expensive that way. Also, don't overlook places like Facebook Marketplace or local auctions. These are other great places where I have found jewelry to sell online. When I was first getting started, I was very conservative about buying. I was very careful with how much money I was spending, making sure that the things I was buying were selling and that I wasn't spending too much money to get inventory only to find out that it really wasn't worth much. Either way, it's a great learning experience because I've done both. Over the years, I have bought big lots of jewelry. I've bought things that I thought were worth a lot of money that ended up not being. And instead of being hard on myself, I just looked at it as education. I learned from it. Step two is learning how to identify it. I shared a little bit before about taking pieces that you may have already, but being able to slowly start building your knowledge is really important. I feel like a lot of people don't get started because they just think, I don't know anything about selling jewelry. And when I just started small and you just have to build off what you know. So when I started technically, I started with vintage men's accessories because it was really easy. I didn't find a whole lot of them. So when I did find them, I could start really honing in on brands that I knew were going to sell well. And it was easy for me to just ease from men's accessories into other vintage jewelry. So finding cufflinks kind of led into finding clip-ons, which led into finding other vintage jewelry. A lot of times you can identify vintage jewelry just by the look and the way it's put together and made, but there are also really great brands to look for like Sarah Coventry, Napier, Trifari, Monet. These are all brands that are pretty prolific out there. There's a lot of it. Some of the pieces from these brands could be worth $10 to $30, but these brands also have pieces that are worth into the hundreds of dollars. So it is worth your time to take a moment and look up that Napier piece and see, is this one of these $15 Napier pieces, or is this one of those $300 Napier pieces? And as you get better at this, you'll start being able to identify quality vintage jewelry by the way it's made. You'll be able to tell by the feel of it, the weight, the way it's constructed, if the stones or faux pearls have a great patina to them. Do they look like high quality? Slowly over time, you're going to start being able to tell just by looking at it if it's high quality. And I do say that if it feels cheap, It probably is. Probably is the operative word there because there are always exceptions. I am blown away all the time at the things I'm learning that I thought, oh, this is just a piece of cheap metal jewelry. It's lightweight and tinny feeling. And it turns out to be worth $100 or more. And I have tons of videos going into different brands and things to look for. So make sure you check those out. All right, we are about halfway through. Leave a comment and let me know if you've already started selling jewelry or you are hesitant to sell jewelry. Let me know what your favorite thing is to sell or what is holding you back. Let's keep going. My next step is pricing and listing. One of the ways that I price my jewelry is by looking at eBay sold comps. The way to do that is, let's say you've got this Napier pair of earrings. You'll go to eBay, type it in, and find pieces that are either exactly like that or similar. And if you're not even sure how to describe it, I would take a picture of the item and I would put it into a Google image search. That will bring up not only eBay, but other places, and then you'll be able to see how other people have described it. Take that information and go to eBay, put that into the eBay search, and then scroll down and look at the solds. So on the left side, there'll be a big toolbar, and you'll be able to select sold items. When you select that, it will pull up the things that have actually sold on eBay. Things that are still up for sale may or may not sell for the price that is being asked. I don't always use this, but it's a good rule of thumb for getting started. At that point, you can see what similar pieces of jewelry have sold for, and it could be a good starting off point for you. Another way I check to see what kind of price I should put on an item is when I do that Google search, I'll take the name of the item and do a Google search, and then I will sort by shopping. That pulls up lots of other places where this item is listed, not just eBay, because I don't only sell on eBay. So while it might sell for one price on eBay, I might find it sold at another price on Etsy. And so I use multiple places to get a good feel for what I might put as a price for my item. And I use this method not only for figuring out the price, but I also use this method to learn how to describe the item. And after having done this for over 10 years, I can go in, look at what's showing up in search, look at what keywords were used for the items that already sold, and see what were the words that people used to describe this item so that it can be found in search. And I want to make sure that I'm using those juicy keywords so that my item is also found in search. I'm frequently asked if I do auctions or if I put my items up as a buy it now. I rarely do auctions. I almost always have my items up as buy it now, and I do tend to price on the higher side because I allow buyers to send me offers. And this way, it gives me a little wiggle room with the price and it lets the buyer send an offer that they're comfortable with. I don't always accept the offer, but if it's a great offer, then I can definitely accept it for a lower price. Step 4 is knowing how you're going to ship this jewelry. Two of the main ways I ship jewelry is in a bubble mailer or in a 6x4x4 size box. Before I put them into the packaging for mailing, I either use a small craft type box, a little jewelry box with the foam, or I use a pouch. If the item doesn't have any stones or things that might break off or break in the shipping process, say it's just an enamel brooch, I'll put it into a jewelry pouch, wrap a thank you card around it, and put it into a bubble mailer to send out. But if it's something, say a larger piece, or it's something that has stones or things that might easily break in a bubble mailer, then I put it in a little jewelry box, and then I pack that into a 6x4x4 size box. I ship through the United States Postal Service, and most of the items I send via Ground Advantage because you get tracking, you get insurance, and it's fairly cheap to ship. If it's something that is more valuable, then I usually put it in priority because it will ship faster and it will have more insurance. And my next step is photography. Taking really good pictures of your jewelry can make or break your sale. Because when a buyer is looking at a listing, a piece of jewelry that they want to buy, if there are blurry photos or there are photos that have a cluttered background, or perhaps it doesn't show all the angles, flaws, clasps, signatures, and marks on the jewelry, it might make you appear as an inexperienced or unreliable seller, which might scare some buyers away. So, learning how to take bright, clear photos that show all the different angles of the piece, including measurements, including the maker's marks, will really go a long way to helping your item sell. Here are a few bonus tips and tools that I use. When I first started, I only had a magnet, a jeweler's loop, and probably a ring mandrel. I didn't have a whole lot of tools, and I didn't really need them until I started getting further into selling nicer and higher end pieces of jewelry. Eventually, I bought a gold and silver testing kit, and I've got lots of videos about how to use those. So, if you've got pieces of jewelry that you think might be gold or silver, you want to be able to test those to make sure they're not just stamped as a gold or silver piece and they're not really. And eventually, I also bought a Presidium gem tester to be able to accurately identify the stones in the jewelry that I was selling. But this is something that was an investment that I bought later on. And if you're interested in any of the tools or packing supplies that I use, I have links down in the description box below, so you can find them there. If you found this video helpful, hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. I've got lots and lots of videos about how to sell jewelry online, how to identify valuable pieces, and lots of fun jewelry unboxings. Thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you found this video helpful, and I will see you on the next one. Good luck treasure hunting. Bye.